We're at the Balancing Rock Trail at the Visitor Center in Valley of Fire State Park. And you could almost miss this trail. Here's the trailhead. And there's nothing that says Balancing Rock. There's just a little sign that says trail. But if you look on the map here, then you can see there's the Balancing Rock Trail here. So let's take a look and see if we're actually on the Balancing Rock Trail and if there's actually a balancing rock. Here we go. Well, amazing rock formations already. We haven't even seen the balancing rock yet. But look at this. Fiery red rock from which the valley gets its name. And here we are, just a few feet into the Balancing Rock Trail. So let's go ahead and delve further in. Oh, let's take a close-up though. All the rocks here have been marked by the weather into thousands of intricate crevices and designs. Here's another look. It's like this all over the park. Pretty amazing. If you were a little animal, you'd have a lot of little caves and homes to live in. Okay, let's continue on the trail. I do believe the Balancing Rock is coming into view. Here we go. There it is. There are a lot of balancing rocks in this park that have been left in that position as the elements have worn away the base of the rock. Here's a 360-degree view of where we are. Just amazing rock formations all around us. And there you can see the visitor center up ahead. We have not traveled very far. I think we're looking at 0.1 miles for this trail, which makes it a really nice trail. I'm creating a list of trails that I'm going to come back to in about 20 or 30 years when my distance capability has been greatly hampered by age, and this is one of the trails. Give you an experience of being out in the wilderness without having to travel long miles. Exactly how this rock ended up here is a real mystery to me. I'm sure that a geologist could explain the whole process, but wow, look at this. Sometimes it's nice to just look at something without having to explain it scientifically and experience the wonder of it all. Okay, let's do a 360-degree look around this rock. We can do this because this trail is so short. Here's the side you do not want to be on during an earthquake. It's not the easiest thing to walk and look up and shoot a video here at the same time because the trail is so uneven. Here's a perspective on the backside that's even more dramatic. If you really want to see the full Balancing Rock, you got to walk around it. let's go up a little higher here. Wow, look at this. Look at this balancing act. Looks impossible. Give you an idea what we're walking around here. Here's the base of the rock. And oh, there are drop-offs all around, so you definitely don't want to be looking up at the balancing rock and walking at the same time. Could be hazardous to your health. But it's pretty amazing, 0.1 miles from the visitor center. If this rock had been 10 miles out, it still might be a destination. So here we are, the balancing rock at Valley of Fire Park. Definitely, you have to walk around the rock to get the full experience. And here we are walking into the rising sun, so who knows what this is going to do to the video. And as I cautioned not to do, we're looking up at the rock and proceeding in a forward motion at the same time. Okay, now we kind of lose the nature of the rock and its balancing act. Now it's more of a pinnacle. Which kind of shows if you're going to experience Valley of Fire Park, you do need to meander around the rock formations, because look, here's the balancing rock, the backside. If you were just walking on a trail and you walk past this, you wouldn't even look up and notice anything different. So it really, for Valley of Fire Park, what you want to do is get into these pinnacle formations and just meander all through the formation so you can see things emerge that otherwise you would miss. Give you an idea what the base of the rock looks like. See a little pile of debris down here. And that's that's part of the whole experience of Valley Fire Park too. It would be a great detective experience just to walk through this park and see the debris that's on the ground, and then ask yourself, how did that get there? What forces of nature placed this debris in this spot, and where did it come from? And if you were to reconstruct rock and a rock formation, what would that look like? Anyway, these are the types of things that fascinate the mind. In fact, there's an entire Apache Native American tracker society. I think Tom Brown is the person who has written a series of books, and the whole idea of tracking is to ask yourself that very question, to ask yourself, look at things and determine, how did that get there? And the Native American Apaches were actually among the best trackers in all of history. They lived in the Nevada area. I mean, not Nevada, in Nebraska area, a very sandy area. And what they would do is they would watch animals walk around and interact with each other, and then they would go look at their tracks and determine, okay, what I saw was this type of activity, and here are the tracks. Now, for most of us, if you talk about tracking, you're just talking about identifying different footprints and saying this footprint is this particular animal. But for an Apache Native American tracker, it was much more involved. It was a process of looking at the tracks and putting back together the story of what actually happened to create those tracks. What were the animals doing? And you could take this even further, and you could look at anything in life and then back engineer it in a way. Back engineering is not just for IT, but back engineering, you can back engineer anything that you see and begin to ask the question, how did that come about? How did what I see come about? And it could be a physical phenomenon. It could also be a social phenomenon. How did this social phenomenon occur? And this kind of tracking, going backwards and reconstructing, is one of the most enlightening experiences you can have in life. And so I encourage you to do some tracking in these wilderness areas and determine how things ended up where they are, and then begin to take that whole philosophy everywhere into life. And what wisdom, what knowledge would emerge from that process. Okay, enough for that's a whole lot more than what you might experience with balancing rock, but everything around here is it's like a microcosm of all knowledge if you look deeply enough. And so I'll just leave it at that. Balancing Rock Trail in Valley of Fire State Park, Nevada. By the way, I just want to make one more epilogue. You've got me started on this Native American tracking. I actually had the opportunity to walk on a trail with someone who had gone to the Tom Brown Native American Tracking School. I think it's in the Northeast. And her name's Norma Shell. She wrote a book, and I forget the name of the book right now, but you can look up Norma Shell. And she used the knowledge that she gleaned from this whole process to cure herself of MS. So I'll leave that little jewel here for you to ponder upon. There is a powerful knowledge in tracking that affects all of life. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. By the way, how did Norma Shell heal herself from MS using Native American Apache tracker knowledge? Well, in Nebraska, a very sandy area, how do you populate a desert? She found, or the Native American trackers discovered, studied, researched just by observation that the way a desert area is repopulated with plants is not to have the entire desert area repopulated, but there are nodes where you have a tree, you have some plants around the tree, that expands. And so the whole idea was that healing occurs around nodes. And so she healed herself from MS with the idea that healing actually occurs in the human body around certain nodes too. You have an area that is healthy and experiencing health, and you expand that healthy area. And over time, it creates health, spreads health throughout the body. I can't say everything about this, because you'd really have to read her book, Norma Schell, Schell, I believe. But the way things change, and the way something that is broken and injured becomes fixed is through taking a healthy area and expanding that healthy area to encompass a larger and larger area, and ultimately creating health throughout the entire body. So just a thought. We are starting out on the Rainbow Vista Trail in Valley of Fire State Park, Nevada. And here's the trailhead for Rainbow Vista. There are enough colors in this park that I'm looking forward to seeing why this trail is called Rainbow Vista. It must be a nuclear combination of colors. We'll find out. These are frozen sand dunes, 150 million years old from the time dinosaurs walked the earth. One pretty amazing thing right off is to notice that there's some wonderful red sand here. And this solidified into sand dunes when dinosaurs were running around in this area 150 million years ago. Good trail markings along the way. I hope that, unlike the pinnacle trails, the markings won't leave when you most need them. But you can see where you need some markings, because you're traversing open desert area, and it looks pretty simple at first glance, but believe me, it is so easy to get lost in these hills, to get disoriented. So anytime you're traversing open desert, it may look simple, but I always keep a frame of reference. By the way, let's just go ahead and do a 360-degree view, or continue our 360-degree view. Here's a little interesting balancing rock act. That's not going to last there too long. Okay, onward. Be prepared to walk a good way of this trail on sand. It's like if you've ever hiked on a sand dune. Here you have it, only it's flat at this point. There are some nice little markers here encouraging you to take pictures at certain points. And that's actually good. If you've ever hiked with someone who notices things you do not, it's always good to have someone say, hey, slow down, take a look at what you can see from this spot. So that's a nice little feature along this trail. Here's a 360-degree view again. And you can see the expanse of Valley of Fire State Park and some of the colors in the distance. Pretty cool. It's in the shade right here, but here are some of those rainbow colors for which Rainbow Vista Trail gets its name. Okay, we're headed toward Fire Canyon Overlook, but at this point, let's take a quick 360-degree view. Rainbow Vista Trail. Here's looking back toward the trailhead. And we're in a kind of canyon right now. This must be Fire Canyon, the beginning. More designs in these rocks than human creativity could ever imagine. Continuing onward toward Fire Canyon Overlook, just want to take another quick 360-degree view. Seems that at every bend in these trails here, there's something very beautiful and unique to look at. Here's looking back. This little narrow pass we just went through. Okay, let's continue on toward that Fire Canyon Overlook. Approaching Fire Canyon Overlook, and we are definitely in a rugged canyon at this point. Look at these walls. So looking back toward the trailhead. This kind of looks like the Grand Staircase here in the Calico Basin. Just descended from the Fire Canyon Overlook. Now we're in Fire Canyon. I don't know if there are going to be any cliff dead ends here. I wouldn't be surprised if there were. We're about at 2,500 feet, so there's a lot of room to descend if that's the way this canyon's going to go. We're going to find out, but we're definitely in a canyon. Pretty impressive. A lot of sandy rocks here, and so I don't dare walk and take pictures at the same time because this sand creates quite a slick surface. So we're going to continue on and see how far we can get. Always checking to make sure that if we turned around we could ascend back to our point of origin. Definitely a nice sandy surface here. So far looking pretty good. A few rocks that I've had to lower myself down through. This is where what you experience if you can continue on past the Rainbow Vista Trail, where it ends with an overlook of Fiery Canyon, or Fire Canyon. Definitely not a place that you want to be during a flash flood. But very beautiful. And I understand that there's another access to Fire Canyon, which is a four-wheel drive or an unpaved road, maybe not four-wheel drive. And so this should take us to that access if we can get through the whole canyon. So why not? Okay, here we are. We've come out into an opening in Fire Canyon. Wow. Just dwarfed by these rock formations, these huge rock walls. Here's the opening we came through just a moment ago. So you're seeing the walls of Fire Canyon. This looks like a huge version of the beehives. Nobody traverses this canyon. There are no footprints. Okay, here's actually where I just emerged from. There we go. There is just so much around here. You almost need a surround vision to actually get the full experience of what I'm seeing here in this amazing canyon. Another great scene from the Roadrunner and Coyote cartoon. I can just see them chasing each other through this canyon. Wow. Now, another thing that's pretty cool about this is, let's go ahead a little bit, and this sand that nobody has walked on is just full of animal tracks. And so, not being a Native American Apache tracker. I can't tell you what this animal is or what it was doing, but I would guess that the animal that made these tracks probably eating these bushes in this area, because it seems like the tracks meander around and end up at bushes, and then it almost looks like we've got a little burrow here. So something lives down there. So here you have it. Fire Canyon. We'll continue along and just see where we end up here. What a beautiful place. By the way, here are some more tracks. These are my tracks. Yeah, everything, every place that anyone walks in this sand is going to leave some good tracks. Except the first wind or rain that comes along, everything disappears. Wow, this is totally like being on the planet Mars. You remove the plants and we're pretty much on Mars. It's a little unofficial, unplanned digression here. I was only going to go to the end of the Rainbow Vista Trail, but I just could not resist going down into Fire Canyon. And then, here, the rock formations are so amazing and so varied. Here is a little formation that's reminiscent of the beehives at the beginning of the park, and leads me to believe animal tracks all around, everywhere. And of course, lots of little places for animals to live. So I'm sure that they're all at this moment watching me. There's 1,000 eyes watching me from these little cubby holes in these rocks. Just amazing. Here's a interesting little bush. I'm sure it has a name. Not being a botanist, I can't tell you what that name is, but yeah, you look at it and you think this area is very barren, but it is full of life. Okay, continuing along, I always have a plan. so that I don't get lost in one of these places. And I think as long as I continue along the main sandy area, because there is a sandy area in the midst of these rocks that is a pretty straight little trail, or I guess channel of sand. Yeah, I'm just going to stick to that. Okay, onward. And here's a little opening inside the beehive. I could not resist getting in here and looking through. So many of these types of miniature caves opening into a view here in Red Rock Park. I mean, not Red Rock, Valley of Fire. Continuing to weave my way through this otherworldly fire canyon. And here you can see another 360-degree view where we are. Pretty substantial rock walls here. Amazing formations. And just like with Balancing Rock, I missed this one because I approached it from the other direction. But look how this is just one slab that separated itself from the rest of the rock and just hanging on there. In fact, all these rocks look like they're hanging on, waiting for that last grain of sand to give way, and then the whole thing falls. Wow. Wonder if something lives up in there. Who knows? Be a great place for a bird. So let's continue on, see what we can find. Okay, let's get a closer experience of the rock. You know that you want to do this. So here we are. Climbing into the rock. And back out the other side. And here's where we just came through. Okay, the canyon continues to widen out. And as it does, the question is, finding my way back. So everywhere there is sand, which is most of the area, I am going to walk on the sand and not on rock, so that on the way back I can see my path. So we'll be doing a little Native American tracking to get out of this canyon. Fire Canyon, Valley of Fire Park, Nevada. Okay, onward. Okay, we're going to take a wild guess here. We're looking at bighorn sheep prints. Definitely has that hoof look, as you can see right here. And here we are continuing on through Fire Canyon. Amazing rock formations in any other park. Oops, here's some more. Yeah, doesn't that look like bighorn sheep to you? If I were a bighorn sheep, that's exactly the type of footprint I'd be making. So as I was saying, in any other park, rock formations like this one up ahead would be named, and they would be the major viewpoint that people would travel miles to see. But here there are just so many of them that you can't even begin to chronicle all these amazing rock formations. Okay, now we're seeing some other human footprints, but they're going in a lot of different directions. So the challenge will be finding our way back out of this canyon the way we came, because now everything's beginning to divide and go in lots of different directions here. Okay, continuing on. Seriously, we've reached a point where there are all kinds of human tracks, and the canyon continues to widen out, at least the sandy area. And so knowing that there's another side to this canyon that's accessed through a roadway, though it's unpaved, I'm thinking that this is where people end up, and these tracks end a little ways up this canyon. This is the direction I came from. So I'm thinking that I'm probably in an area now where people come from below and get up to a point just a little bit beyond this and then turn around. So here's a 360-degree view, and I'll probably be coming out the bottom of Fire Canyon and then retracing my way back up Fire Canyon. So it's nice to know that there are two ends to this canyon. It gives me a little more confidence that I'm not going to end up in the middle of nowhere and lost. Continue to be amazed by these rock formations all around us. And definitely the canyon is widening out at this point. Fire Canyon. Interesting, the sand has turned white, even though the rocks continue to be red. So this must be washing down from an area of white rock, and I can see some white rock up ahead as this canyon meanders around. So I believe there's a larger white rock area, and that's where this sand would wash from. Also, I'm noticing that lots of tracks, and so I'm in a main area that's traveled by people. So we'll just continue on and see where we end up on this little adventure in Fire Canyon. Canyon continues to narrow, but we've got this white rock here. So we're going to continue on up a ways. There was another route I could have taken back a ways down there, and maybe that would lead out of the canyon. Once I come out this lower end, I'll be looking at a unpaved road that will lead right back to the Rainbow Vista parking area. So we'll try this for a ways, and then we'll come around and go the other direction, see where it leads. This looks like it's going uphill, but it's going toward white rock. This is telling me this is not the way out the bottom of the canyon. It's getting more narrow and choked with rock. So I hear a little echo here. So I'm going to go back to a place where it's circled around in another direction. We'll try that other direction. If that doesn't work, then we're going to retrace our way back the way we came. So let's just see what we can see. And by the way, we're in a pretty narrow area of this canyon. Okay, so turning around, retracing our way, and trying another route that I saw back there. Here we go. Okay, this is the route I just took. Ends in a narrowing canyon area. Couple other possibilities. Right over the top here and toward those white rocks in the distance. And there they are. Another would be, I'm going to try this first through this narrow area and see if this is going to lead to where we want to go. Here we go. Continuing on down this way, looking a lot better. I see some light around the corner, but just wanted to stop. Take a look at this. How in the world is that pillar hanging on to that spot? We don't know. Well, we hope it continues to hang on while I go through this narrow canyon area. Here we go. Continuing on down Fire Canyon. Just had to stop here. This looks like the mother of all balancing rocks right down there. Look at that slab. Wow. Now this is good news. Canyon continues to have a very solid opening, sandy, but it's an opening a lot of people have traveled through here. So let's continue on down, see what we find out. I'll look around here a little more, but it looks like we might have reached a dead end here. And I can see footprints down in the sand below, but I don't know how to get down there. So I may need to retrace my way back to my point of origin at the Rainbow Vista Trail. So I was hoping I'd find a way out the bottom of this canyon without having to do that, but I'm pretty much surrounded by area that doesn't look like you can traverse. Maybe around this direction if I can get down there. We'll see. Okay, that does it. I don't see a way to get down off of this rock and down to where the canyon continues, and I see evidence of a lot of human traffic down there, but I don't know how to get there. So I may have to retrace my steps through this meandering canyon and end up where I started. Well, we'll see. That's going to be quite a challenge because this is like a huge maze. Okay. Well, let's see what we can do. This, I guess, is what you call a slot canyon. There's the sky above. Okay, back we go. I was about to give up and head back, but then I saw a few cairns, and here's an example of one right there. Led me around that rock formation and down to the well-traveled sandy canyon as it continues. So we're going to continue. I hope I don't need to go back up this way, because I tell you, there are so many meanderings that it's going to be a real puzzle finding my way out. But let's continue on down. There's quite an echo in here as the walls of this canyon have narrowed. But let's see where this leads. See if we can lead out of this canyon. Here we go. I way overshot my goal. Here's White Dome, way up above the Rainbow Vista Trail. And so what I need to do is circle around till I find the White Dome Road, and then head down to my point of origin on the Rainbow Vista Trail. So there we are. We're gonna have the grand tour here. I'm in Fire Canyon, pretty low. So at least I have a point of reference. I'm retracing my steps now, back to White Dome and then back down to Rainbow Vista Trail. Here we go. Okay, here's White Dome. I believe that I go around the right side and I start looking for the road. So we'll see how that works. And then I've got a long haul on the road to get back to the Rainbow Vista trailhead, but at least I know where I am. Okay, onward. Okay, running low on battery, so I can't be too long-winded. This is White Domes, and I believe this is the White Domes Loop Trail. So I'm going to circle around, I'm going to find a parking area, and then take the asphalt road, White Domes Road, back to the Rainbow Vista trailhead. And that's going to be quite a long haul. I don't know, 2 or 3 miles. Anyway, off we go. Let's circle around here and find that road. Way of review, what we have just done, there's White Domes, and there is Fire Canyon. So we went all the way down Fire Canyon, almost out the other end. And we'll have to check that out to see what that looks like on the map once we get back to the map. Anyway, now what we're doing is circling around White Domes on this, hopefully, White Domes Loop Trail, and looking for an asphalt road and parking lot at the White Domes Loop Trailhead. So let's go for it. Okay, there's the White Domes Loop Trailhead, and now it's just a matter of retracing the road back to the Rainbow Vista Trailhead. So things are looking good. Beautiful area here. Look at this. And by the way, my battery's way down, so this could cut out at any moment. .360-degree view. And now it's time to head back. Okay, here's one last look at White Domes. There it is. Here's the canyon, and the loop trail goes around White Domes. And you can see here, I believe this is the Fire Canyon we're looking at there. So we'll find out pretty soon, that's for sure. Okay, onward. Here we are back again at Rainbow Vista Trailhead. And I ran down from the White Domes Loop Trail, and that parking area wasn't very far. I thought it was going to be a lot further. So anyway, here we are, back again. What an adventure. We took the Rainbow Vista Trail, and then at the Rainbow, at the Fire Canyon overlook, we just went down into Fire Canyon, went all the way down Fire Canyon, way overshot White Domes, and then retraced our way back to White Domes, and then ran down from the White Domes parking area. And the reason I'm hesitating a little, I think I see some petroglyphs on that rock down there. Let's take a look before we run out of battery. There you have it. These look like the real thing. They may have been defaced a little bit. Some unexpected petroglyphs here. And then you can see along this rock, you can see more activity, and not totally sure if these are all legit, because I'm seeing a lot of human stuff up here too. But some of this does look like legitimate petroglyphs. Unexpected, but here they are at the Rainbow Vista Trailhead.